Welcome back to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being truly well-informed. We try to pack it with surprising facts, maybe just enough humor to keep you hooked.
We do our best.
Today, we're diving deep, really deep, into something that's, well, it's not just shaping our digital present, it's defining our future.
Absolutely. AI.
The AI revolution, yeah. And specifically, the complex, often kind of unseen data security challenges it brings along.
Right. The hidden risks.
We've all heard the buzz, seen the headlines. Maybe you've even used tools like Microsoft Copilot. It's incredible stuff, honestly.
Some call it one of the most powerful productivity tools on the planet. And you can see why.
Yeah, it's designed to weave right into your daily work, isn't it? Drafting proposals, summarizing meetings, tackling your inbox.
Well, what's critical to understand, and this comes through loud and clear in sources like the Varonis 2025 State of Data Security Report and the Forrester Wave for Data Security Platforms, is that these powerful AI tools, they're not just smart. They are data hungry.
It's extremely data hungry. They access basically everything you've worked on in Microsoft 365.
Documents, presentations, email, calendar, notes, contacts, the whole lot.
And that's precisely where things get interesting, or maybe a bit scary.
Yeah, where the rubber meets the road, as they say. AI promises these huge productivity gains. But at the same time, it accelerates these pretty significant data security risks.
So the core idea we're unpacking today is this fundamental truth. Generative AI, just by how it works, can access all the underlying data that a user can access.
Exactly. It inherits permissions.
So if that foundational data isn't secure, if it's, overexposed,
then the AI itself instantly becomes a potential vulnerability, a way for accidental leaks to happen on a scale we haven't really seen before.
It's a paradox, isn't it?
Right.
The tool meant to make us more productive
could actually expose our most sensitive stuff if we're not careful.
Exactly. So our mission today, really, is to unpack these critical challenges, securing sensitive data in this new age of AI.
And we're going to zero in on a really interesting development, a strategic partnership that's aiming to tackle one of the biggest hurdles.
Yeah, a really foundational problem of the AI era. How do you actually stop these incredibly powerful AI tools from accessing unauthorized data, the data they shouldn't be seeing?
It's the core question.
So we've pulled from a whole bunch of sources for this deep dive that Varonis 2025 State of Data Security Report, which is packed with data.
Very insightful. And the Forrester Wave Data Security Platforms report, too.
Right. Plus expert interviews, detailed comparisons of security offerings. We really try to get a comprehensive, well-informed perspective.
The goal is to cut right to the heart of what this means for organizations and, well, for the future of using AI securely.
Okay, so let's unpack this AI data dilemma, because it's a big one. Every organization looking at AI is wrestling with this right now. Generative AI's core function, like we said, it's built on this just voracious appetite for data.
It needs data to work.
Think about Microsoft Copilot again. It's engineered to massively boost productivity by integrating deeply with an organization's existing data.
It can draft a business proposal by pulling info from, say, different OneNote pages or PowerPoints.
Or summarize a long Teams meeting, triage a messy Outlook inbox.
Even analyze complex Excel data to find hidden trends and insights. It's powerful stuff.
And it pulls from a user's entire Microsoft 365 ecosystem. That's just a massive amount of information right at its fingertips.
And this is where that inherent permissions challenge really bites. It's fascinating, actually.
How so?
Well, Copilot's security model, it isn't about giving it new access. It operates purely based on the user's current Microsoft 365 permissions.
Ah, okay. So whatever I can see, Copilot can see.
Precisely. That's the crucial bit. It means Copilot can, and absolutely will, surface all organizational data that an individual user has at least view permissions for.
Wow. Yeah.
So if you, the user, can see it, Copilot can see it, it can summarize it, present it back to you, maybe even to others you're collaborating with. Yaki Faitelson, the CEO of Varonis, he has this vivid description. He calls it akin to a Pac-Man from hell that's just going and grabbing everything that it can.
That's quite an image. A Pac-Man from hell.
It's incredibly apt, though. It illustrates how these AI tools are basically designed to inhale all the access they inherit, and that instantly creates this pervasive, often kind of hidden risk for companies.
The AI is just doing its job based on the access it's given.
Exactly. It inherits the permissions mess, if there is one.
That Pac-Man analogy really does hit home. And this behavior, it creates this huge tension, doesn't it, between wanting the productivity gains and needing security.
Especially with these collaboration tools.
Yeah, it actually reminds me a lot of how Microsoft Teams got rolled out during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, that was fast.
Super fast.
Ah.
Everyone needed remote collaboration now, so Teams went out at warp speed, often without maybe full understanding the security model underneath.
Or how, in Shape, the company's existing M365 permissions and groups and link policies actually were.
Right. And that led to big problems with oversharing, data sprawl, just stuff getting out there.
And now with generative AI, it feels like a similar challenge, but on steroids, even more accelerated.
The stakes feel higher, too, because AI can instantly synthesize and present info that might have been buried before, like across thousands of different files.
That analogy is spot on. It perfectly captures the dynamic. And the real-world consequences of this kind of uncontrolled access, they're already becoming alarmingly clear.
And the numbers? They're pretty stark, right?
Oh, yeah. The Varonis State of Data Security Report for 2025 gives us a really sobering look. They reviewed 1,000 organizations, nearly 10 billion cloud resources. It quantifies AI's impact in a way that should make, frankly, every CISO and IT leader pay attention.
Okay, hit me with some numbers.
All right, get this. A staggering 99% of organizations have sensitive data dangerously exposed to AI tools.
99%. That's basically everyone.
Virtually every single organization in their sample has this fundamental vulnerability. It's baked in if the underlying data isn't locked down.
Wow. Okay, that's alarming. What else?
The report digs deeper. 90% of orgs have exposed sensitive cloud data, making critical info literally one Copilot prompt away.
Just one prompt away. That paints a picture, doesn't it? Like one innocent question to your AI assistant.
Could inadvertently pull up highly confidential stuff, financial records, customer PII, you name it.
Okay, what else is lurking in there?
Well, it's not just about immediate exposure. There's this more insidious problem, ghost users.
Ghost users, like accounts that shouldn't be active.
Exactly. The report found 88% of organizations have stale but enabled ghost users, and the average, 15,000 such accounts per organization.
15,000, that's huge. These are like old employee accounts.
Yeah.
Contractors.
And because they're still enabled, they give attackers this persistent, often unnoticed way in. They can conduct reconnaissance, move laterally, steal data, all using legitimate, albeit old, credentials.
So they log in, not break in.
Precisely. Much harder to detect initially.
And then there's the shadow AI problem you mentioned earlier.
Right. The report showed a shocking 98% of organizations have unverified apps, including these unofficial AI tools running in their environments.
How many on average?
Average of 1,200 unofficial apps per company.
1,200? That's a lot of potential holes.
It dramatically increases the risk of data leaks. Employees use these tools because, hey, they're often easy to use, they boost productivity.
Sure, I get that.
But without IT oversight, without security controls, sensitive info like PII, personally identifiable information, or maybe even proprietary source code can just get uploaded to some third-party service and poof, gone outside the company's control.
Okay, this is painting a pretty grim picture of data exposure.
It gets worse. The report also found that a startling 7 out of 8 organizations have sensitive data exposed to every single user in the company.
Every user, like internal everyone permissions.
Often, yeah, or just overly broad group memberships. This brings us to a really critical concept in data security.
Yeah.
The blast radius.
Okay, explain that.
So over 90% of the data, an identity, whether it's a person's account or a service account, can actually access, is irrelevant to their job. They don't need it.
90% is irrelevant access.
Yeah. This excessive, unnecessary access creates this massive blast radius. Essentially, it's the potential scope of damage an attacker can inflict once they compromise that identity.
Because once they're in using credentials,
they log in, remember, and then maybe they use AI or just simple search to quickly find and steal the most valuable data within that huge radius they suddenly have access to.
That's a powerful and, frankly, terrifying image, like leaving every door in a giant house unlocked, not knowing what's valuable in each room.
And then giving a super smart assistant the master key.
Yeah. And add another layer of complexity here, labeling data, despite how important it is for governance, for DLP.
Data loss prevention, yeah.
The report found only 1 out of 10 companies had actually labeled their files adequately.
Which is a critical gap, because AI is going to generate orders of magnitude more data. All of that needs accurate, auto-updating labels to maintain any kind of control.
It's a huge challenge just keeping track of what's what, let alone securing it.
Which brings us neatly to what we're calling the Copilot paradox.
The paradox being?
Despite its massive potential, many organizations are finding their Copilot pilots are just stuck. They can't move from proof of concept into full production.
Why? Because of these risks.
Exactly. The real-world consequences of this data overexposure are proving to be a huge barrier to widespread adoption. It's the ultimate productivity tool, but companies are, understandably, hesitant.
Okay, give me an example. Make it real.
Sure, picture this. A major Wall Street bank. Huge financial institution, right? They're piloting Copilot to boost trader productivity.
Makes sense.
One really sharp trader used Copilot to summarize a load of internal research. They're expecting market insights, help with trades.
Standard use case.
Instead, what pops up on their screen? Employee names, social security numbers, account numbers, even 401k positions for dozens, maybe hundreds of employees.
Oh my God. How?
Not because the trader was malicious, not because Copilot gave new access. It was because someone, somewhere, had saved a spreadsheet with all this incredibly sensitive data
In a place it shouldn't have been.
in a Microsoft Teams site that, due to a simple misconfiguration, was basically accessible to everyone in the bank.
Wow. So Copilot just surfaced what was already accessible but hidden.
Exactly. The pilot was shut down immediately. One exec called it a privacy nightmare.
I can imagine. And you're saying this isn't just a one-off.
No, not at all. Industry analysts, ETR.ai, Gartner, Forrester, they're all reporting variations of every Copilot pilot is stuck in pilot.
Stuck in pilot.
The data backs it up. Sources show about 39% of organizations are blocked from getting Gen AI into full production specifically because of security concerns.
Nearly 40%.
And around 35% are stuck in what people are calling POC hell, proof of concept deployments that just never make it over the line because of governance issues. They can't satisfy internal security.
That's a massive amount of stalled progress. Billions in potential productivity just sitting there.
Right. It makes it crystal clear. When data access isn't rigorously controlled, generative AI can and will expose sensitive information too easily.
And this vulnerability isn't just some technical glitch.
No, it's currently the primary barrier to widespread secure AI adoption in the enterprise. You simply can't leverage AI's full power if you're constantly worried about accidental breaches or huge regulatory fines.
So the paradox is AI, the ultimate productivity booster, is forcing companies to finally clean up their decade-old data permissions mess before they can even use it safely.
Pretty much, yeah. You have to get your data house in order first.
Okay, so if the problem is this pervasive, uncontrolled data access and what it means for AI, what are the solutions?
This brings us to building what one source, IBM Technology, calls the donut of defense.
The donut of defense. I like it. Tell me more.
It's a cool concept. It advocates for wrapping AI, meaning the data it uses, the models themselves, and how it's used with comprehensive security capabilities.
So securing the whole ecosystem.
Exactly, including the underlying infrastructure, plus a robust governance layer on top. It's a complete lifecycle view, not just point solutions.
Okay, what does this donut entail? What are the layers?
What's really insightful about it is the focus on designing security for emergent AI behaviors, like anticipating how a large language model might misuse authorized data or create new vulnerabilities.
Right, it's not just standard security.
No. And it breaks down into 4 essential capabilities. First, you need to discover.
Discover what?
All uses of AI in your environment, not just the official sanctions stuff, but crucially, finding that unknown shadow AI.
The tools employees are using on their own.
Exactly. You need an agentless approach for this because, simply put, you can't secure what you can't see. And once you find them, you need to look at the logs, understand what they're actually doing.
Okay, discover first. Then what?
Second is assess. Actively scan the AI environment for vulnerabilities, misconfigurations. Think AI security posture management.
Like checking the health of your AI setup.
Yeah. And critically, this also includes pen testing, penetration testing the models themselves. Especially important for models you import from third-party or open-source places.
Like Hugging Face you mentioned.
Yeah.
With millions of models.
Exactly. You need to scan those models just like software for malware or maybe poison data before you deploy them. Try to break it before the bad guys do.
Makes sense. Discover, assess. What's next?
Next up is control. This is where you put protective measures in place.
Like firewalls for AI.
Sort of. It involves implementing an AI gateway, a security layer between the user and the AI.
What does the gateway do?
It actively looks for things like prompt injection attacks. OWASP calls that the #1 threat to Gen AI right now.
OWASP, the web security folks.
Right. Or it looks for jailbreak attempts, prompts designed to trick the AI into bypassing its safety filters. The gateway can monitor these or actively block them.
And presumably stop sensitive data going out.
Critically important, yes. Guard against privacy violations by making sure sensitive information doesn't leave your controlled environment in AI responses.
Okay. Discover, assess, control, and the last piece.
Finally, report. You need to visualize your risk. Dashboards that prioritize vulnerabilities and threats, giving you that single pane of glass.
See it all in one place.
Yep. And generate compliance reports. Prove you're adhering to policies, frameworks like OWASP Top 10, MITRE AI Risk Management Framework. It's about proving effectiveness over time.
So it's a continuous cycle. Discover, assess, control, report. The donut of defense.
That's the idea, a holistic approach.
Now, building on that, from a specialist viewpoint like Varonis, what's the absolute foundation here?
It's got to be data-centric. As one expert put it, data security is AI security. Data powers AI.
Catchy. But what does it mean in practice?
It's a guiding principle. It means continuously monitoring data access and usage, automating access governance, figuring out who can see what, and locking it down and employing proactive threat detection, not just reacting.
The conversation has to start and end with the data itself.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's dig into those essential pillars of AI data security then. What are the key capabilities Varonis highlights for safe AI adoption?
First and foremost is data discovery and classification. You have to accurately find, classify, and label all your sensitive data.
Across all data stores, cloud, on-prem, hybrid.
Yes, all of it. This process identifies your crown jewels, your most critical data, so you can prioritize protecting it. And crucially, it tells you what data can safely be used for AI training or accessed by tools like Copilot.
So it's not just finding sensitive files, but understanding what's in them?
Exactly. Varonis, for example, has a much larger built-in rule library than many tools, like almost 400 GDPR policies. And it goes beyond just saying, this file is sensitive. It reports on sensitive record counts. It can tell you not just that a spreadsheet contains PII, but that it contains, say, 10,000 social security numbers.
Ah, okay. That level of granularity is huge for understanding actual risk.
It's a game changer for prioritization.
Okay, discovery and classification. What follows that?
That granular insight leads directly into data security posture management, DSPM. Basically, gauging how healthy your data environment is, then automatically improving it by finding and fixing issues.
Like a health check and treatment plan for your data.
Good analogy. And hand in hand with that is data access governance.
Seeing who can touch what and locking it down. Least privilege.
Precisely. See exactly who can touch sensitive data, enforce least privilege. This is absolutely critical for controlling AI's access and shrinking that blast radius we talked about. Make sure AI only sees what it needs.
Got it. What else?
Then there's data-centric user and entity behavior analytics.
UE. That's about spotting weird behavior, right?
Yeah. Establish baselines for what's normal for every user, every device. Then detect and alert on meaningful deviations, including how people interact with Copilot.
Why is that better than just general alerts?
It gives you super high-fidelity alerts, cuts through the noise that swamps security teams. If an exec suddenly accesses tons of sensitive financial data via Copilot from a weird IP address outside work hours.
UAV flags that specific activity as suspicious.
Right. Much more targeted and actionable.
Makes sense. And I assume standard stuff like DLP is still important.
Of course. Fundamental capabilities like data loss prevention, DLP, to monitor data activity and prevent exfiltration accidental or malicious.
And protecting identities themselves.
Yep. Robust identity protection. Detecting identity threats and risks that could lead to data compromise. But what makes all these capabilities truly effective, especially at scale?
Let me guess. Automation.
You got it. Automation is rapidly becoming non-negotiable.
Why, just speed.
Speed, yes, but also minimizing human error, enabling continuous policy enforcement across these massive, complex environments, and importantly, building confidence within IT teams.
Confidence. How so?
Well, companies often hesitate to tighten access controls because they worry, what if I break something? What if I stop someone doing their job?
Yeah, the fear of help desk tickets.
Exactly. Automation, especially if you can start it in an audit-only mode first, or apply policies to lower-risk areas, it lets teams see the risk reduction, prove the benefits, without causing problems.
So they can deploy guardrails, test them, enforce them much faster than doing it manually.
At a speed and scale manual processes just can't handle.
And this directly helps with that tension we mentioned earlier. Business wanting open collaboration, IT needing to lock things down.
Absolutely. Implementing automated guardrails lets you have both. People can share and collaborate, but automated policies kick in to protect highly sensitive data if it gets overexposed.
Without security needing to manually intervene every time.
Right. It empowers the business to move fast, but securely.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem, the AI data dilemma, the paradox, and the solution framework, the donut of defense, emphasizing data centricity and automation. Now, let's zero in on a really game-changing development that seems to tie a lot of this together. The unified front being built by Microsoft Purview and Varonis.
Yeah, this isn't just a casual partnership. It's a deeply strategic alliance.
How deep does it go? Is this new?
Actually, the relationship is really rooted. Varonis has partnered with Microsoft for 2 decades.
20 years, wow.
Yeah, going way back to securing Windows file systems, SharePoint, Exchange Server.
Right.
As companies moved to Microsoft 365 and Azure, Varonis evolved right alongside them.
So they've always played in the Microsoft ecosystem.
Always. Available on the Azure Marketplace, working closely with Microsoft partners and customers, ensuring consistent data protection across hybrid setups. It's a long history of complementing each other.
And now that relationship has become more formal.
Much more. A formal strategic product partnership formalized July 1st, 2025. This isn't just marketing, it's an engineering-led plan.
Engineering-led, what's the core goal?
To solve that fundamental challenge we keep coming back to, stopping AI tools and LLMs from accessing unauthorized data.
Getting the permissions right automatically.
Right. It represents a shared vision. Combine Microsoft's huge innovation in AI with Varonis's deep specialized expertise in data security. The goal: accelerate secure AI adoption globally.
Okay, so let's break down the pieces. Microsoft's side first, Purview.
Well, Microsoft's investment here is massive. $20 billion in cybersecurity just between 2021 and 2026. They've rapidly become a security market giant.
And Purview is their governance piece.
Purview is a cornerstone, yeah. It provides foundational data governance, risk, and compliance solutions, strong on data classification, end-to-end lineage.
Lineage meaning tracking data's journey.
Exactly. Knowing where data came from, how it moved, where it is now, like a family tree for your sensitive info. Forrester, in their Wave report, recognized Microsoft for this breadth and depth access controls, DLP, rights management, encryption, and they specifically highlighted its support for enabling AI security and governance.
So Microsoft provides that broad foundational layer across its huge ecosystem.
Correct. Foundational is the key word.
But then Varonis comes in as what? The specialist.
As the advanced automated data security intelligence layer. Varonis isn't just a player here. Forrester names them a clear leader in that same data security platform's Wave report.
What makes them a leader, according to Forrester?
They're praised specifically for their vision, harnessing deep data insights to automate remediation. That automation piece is key. They excel in discovery, classification, access controls, data threat, and risk visibility. It's about deep insight into the data itself.
And practically speaking, day-to-day.
Operationally, Forrester notes Varonis outclasses competitors in reporting, investigations, manageability, and maybe most telling, Forrester calls Varonis a customer favorite.
What do customers say?
They say the benefits are worthy expense, that it saved them so much time. Forrester sums it up. Varonis is a top choice for organizations prioritizing deep data visibility, classification capabilities, and automated remediation for data access.
Which sounds exactly like what's needed for secure AI.
It lines up perfectly with the core challenge.
Okay, so let's get specific. How does the Varonis complete and augment Microsoft's capabilities, especially for AI?
All right, let's break it down. For zero trust and least privilege, Varonis helps you visualize, quantify, and then reduce collaboration risk in M365.
How?
By analyzing every shared link, every access control, and connecting it back to user accounts in Entra ID or AD. It gives you that clear, consolidated picture of who can really touch sensitive data, no matter how they got access. Effective permissions, not just stated ones.
Got it. What about classification? Microsoft does that too.
Yes, but Varonis offers superior data classification, especially across hybrid environments, cloud and on-prem. While Microsoft's library is good, Varonis has a larger, more granular rule set. Remember the nearly 400 GDPR policies?
And the record counts, yeah. Not just sensitive file, but 10,000 SSNs.
Exactly. That allows for much more accurate risk evaluation. Highlights concentrations of risk, lets you easily pivot to who has access to these specific records. Plus, it can even ingest classification results from Microsoft's own tools for a unified view.
So it enhances Microsoft's own labeling, like MIP?
Greatly enhances Microsoft Information Protection, MIP labeling. Varonis integrates seamlessly. It finds sensitive files missing labels or with the wrong labels. It can automatically apply MIP labels on-prem, and critically, it lets you analyze overexposed, labeled files.
So even if it's labeled confidential, Varonis can tell you if it's shared too widely.
Precisely. It bridges the gap where manual labeling fails or where auto-labeling might be limited, especially with AI creating so much new data needing labels.
Okay, what about data loss prevention, DLP?
This is a big one. Proactive DLP. Varonis fills a major gap in Microsoft's traditional detect and block approach.
How's it proactive?
Instead of just reacting when someone tries to exfiltrate data, Varonis shows you who already has risky access to critical data, and then helps you safely remediate those excessive permissions before data can leak.
So it stops the leak before it happens by fixing the access.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It gives actionable recommendations, even a sandbox, to model changes safely. It shifts DLP from reactive blocking to proactive prevention by controlling access at the source.
That sounds much better. What about threat detection? Microsoft has Defender.
It does, and Defender is powerful, but Varonis complements it with data-centric threat detection and forensics. It provides a unique data-centric view using hundreds of built-in UEBA threat models.
UEBA again.
Yes, but these models factor in activity across your entire hybrid data landscape. And the alerts Varonis generates, they have immediate, rich context.
Like what?
The user, the device, geolocation, the specific sensitive data involved, even typical working hours. This leads to fewer, much higher fidelity alerts compared to traditional SIEMs. It cuts through the noise, drastically reducing detection and response time.
Fewer, better alerts. Security teams would love that.
Absolutely. And it also provides enhanced insider risk management. Beyond Microsoft's offering, it excels at spotting risky insiders pivoting between M365 and on-prem data.
Oh.
Its UBA models automatically learn normal versus risky behavior for each individual, needing less manual policy tuning. It's very effective at spotting subtle, dangerous shifts that might indicate an insider threat.
Okay, a big pain point is often just managing all the different tools and consoles.
Right. Varonis addresses that with a unified console. A single interface for comprehensive visibility into data risk and access across M365 Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive.
All in one place.
All in one place. It dramatically simplifies investigations that might otherwise take days hopping between different Microsoft admin portals. Get the answer to who can access this quickly.
And critically, you mentioned hybrid visibility.
Yes, a key differentiator. Varonis puts M365 risks and behavior in context with your on-premises infrastructure. You get a complete unified picture across your entire enterprise. Microsoft's cloud-native tools often miss that on-prem piece.
Seeing the whole puzzle, not just the cloud pieces.
Exactly.
And finally, integration with SIEMs like Sentinel.
Seamless SIEM integration. Varonis integrates powerfully with Azure Sentinel, feeding it those enriched, data-centric, high-fidelity alerts we talked about.
Making Sentinel more effective.
Much more effective and more affordable. Varonis is the #1-rated UEBA on Gartner Peer Insights. It triggers far fewer alerts per million events. So Sentinel isn't flooded with noise, reducing alert fatigue and ingestion costs. It optimizes your existing security investment.
Wow. Okay, so this partnership creates a really powerful unified control plane.
Designed to deliver secure AI adoption at scale, it's truly the best of both worlds. Unified classification and policy enforcement, not just across Microsoft, but other major SaaS platforms too, Salesforce, Databricks, ServiceNow, bringing consistency to that sprawling data landscape.
And is it actually working? Are there real-world results?
The proof is definitely in the pudding. The results are incredibly compelling. Take Tampa General Hospital. They used Varonis for a Copilot readiness assessment. Smart move. They quickly found tens of thousands of links exposing personal health information way too broadly.
Yikes. What do they do?
Within just 10 days, Varonis automated the lockdown of everything overexposed. And get this, 0 help desk tickets.
0 tickets, that's the dream.
It allowed them to confidently deploy Copilot. Shows the power of automation for security without business disruption.
Any other examples?
Yeah. Another customer reduced their Copilot exposure by 99.8% in just 10 days.
99.8%.
Yep. eliminated 2,000 unnecessary sharing links, right-sized access to 57,000 sensitive files across 1 million items. These are enterprise-scale problems solved with incredible speed and precision, surgical remediation.
So specifically for Copilot, what does Varonis do?
The core features are limiting access, monitoring prompts, and detecting abuse, all underpinned by that continuous policy automation.
How does automation help specifically with AI risk?
Well, specific AI-related risk policies can automatically remove things like dangerous org-wide sharing links or stale links to sensitive data that aren't needed anymore, proactively shutting down exposure routes.
And monitoring. Can you see what people are asking Copilot?
Yes, beyond just remediation, Varonis provides invaluable real-time monitoring and forensics. It captures all Copilot interactions, the prompts, the responses, and the specific files referenced.
And adds context.
Enriches it with metadata, file sensitivity, user geolocation. This lets analysts quickly answer really critical questions like, which execs accessed sensitive financial data via Copilot this week from suspicious IPs? That forensic detail is crucial.
That's powerful. Any other AI integrations?
Yes, there's an integration with Athena AI. It's a natural language SOC assistant.
AI helping to manage AI risk.
Exactly. Helps analysts investigate and resolve Copilot incidents using plain English queries. And it's included. No extra expense. It's like the Defender's secret weapon.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. This Varonis Microsoft partnership sounds like a really big deal.
It's bold, it's decisive, it's strategic. It fundamentally reshapes the data security landscape for the AI era. It's not just two companies working together, it feels like a new model.
How so? For Microsoft?
For Microsoft, it's a brilliant stroke of risk mitigation. It directly neutralizes that huge barrier to their AI ambitions, the data exposure problem, by aligning with the best-in-class specialists. It empowers customers to embrace AI securely, knowing there's enterprise-wide security and governance addressing the deep challenges.
Microsoft saying, we build the AI, we partner with the best to help you use it safely.
Exactly.
For Varonis.
Undeniably company defining. It cements their market leadership in data security, creates a powerful, defensible, competitive moat, and gives them a clear, accelerated path to significant growth. They're positioned right at the forefront of securing information automatically for the AI era, an indispensable partner.
So wrapping up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? For enterprises?
Yeah.
For the future?
Well, consider how this unified approach, driven by the strategic partnership between two giants, really changes the game. It shifts the focus. It's not just about preventing breaches anymore.
It's about enabling.
Yeah.
What? Radical productivity.
Enabling radical productivity with AI. Yeah. But securely, confidently. By ensuring that knowledge is powerful, yes, but only when it's also protected.
So a final provocative thought for you to mull over. What new possibilities does this truly open up for organizations that can now leverage AI without that constant fear of exposing their crown jewels?
Does this partnership set a new precedent, a more collaborative approach to security for emerging tech across the industry?
And could this shift in confidence actually accelerate the pace of AI innovation itself, now that maybe the biggest barrier data risk is being systematically dismantled?
It's a fascinating thought, and one we'll definitely keep exploring as AI continues to reshape, well, everything.